Shri Ganesha Sharada Gurubhyo Namaha Ramaya Ramabhadraya Ramachandraya Vedase Raghunathaya Nathaya Sitaya Pataye Namaha. Welcome to all for this session on Ramayana with chapter 73 of Yuddha Kanda. In the previous chapters, we saw the death of sons of Ravana, Devantaka, Narantaka, Atikaya, and Trishiras, along with Mahodara and Mahaparshva. Post that, Ravana is making a tight security arrangement for the entire city of Lanka, as well to the Ashoka Grove where Sita is held captive. Post that, now Indrajithu is entering into the battlefield again to achieve another victory. The Titans who had escaped the slaughter hastened to apprise Ravana of the death of their leaders Devantaka and others, as also Trishirasa and Atikaya. Hearing these mournful tidings, great tears immediately filled the king's eyes, and for a long time he remained absorbed in the melancholy thought of the death of his sons and brothers. Beholding the wretched monarch plunged in an ocean of grief, Indrajithu, the son of that lord of Titans, the foremost of warriors, addressed him thus: "O my dear father, since Indrajit still lives, do not give yourself up to despair. O prince of the Nairathas, he whom the enemy of the Indra strikes with his shafts in the fair fight is not able to preserve his life. Today you shall see Rama and Lakshmana lying stretched on the earth, their bodies pierced torn to pieces by my arrows, their limbs riddled with my whetted shafts, bear witness to the well considered woe of Shakra's enemy, reinforced by my prowess and the divine power. This very day I shall overwhelm Rama and Lakshmana with arrows that never miss their target. Let Indra, Vaivaswata, Vishnu, Rudra, the Sadhyas, Vaishwanara, Chandra, and Surya this day witness my immeasurable prowess, as redoubtable as that of Vishnu at Bali's place of sacrifice. Having spoken thus, that rival of the Lord of the Celestials craved permission of the king to depart, and with fearless soul ascended his chariot that was as swift as the wind, harnessed to excellent steeds, and furnished with weapons resembling the car of Hari himself. Then he set out for the battlefield immediately, and that magnanimous hero was escorted by innumerable warriors full of ardor, bearing great bows in their hands. As they advanced, some on the backs of the elephants, others on prodigious mounts such as tigers, scorpions, cats, mules, buffaloes, serpents, boars, cheetahs, lions, and jackals, as large as hills, crows, herons, and peacocks. Those titans of redoubtable courage were armed with javelins, hammers, sabers, axes, and maces. To the sound of conches and the rolling of drums, that valiant enemy of the king of the gods rushed out to fight. With his parasol purely like the moon, that slayer of his enemies shone like the firmament when that orb is full, fanned by marvelous chauris with elegant handles, that warrior adorned with golden ornaments, the foremost of archers, Indrajita, blazed like that solar disk, and he whose strength was irresistible illumined Lanka with a burning sun in the sky. Then that intrepid subduer of his enemies, on reaching the battlefield, ranged the Titans round his chariot, and according to the traditional rites, that prince of the Titans prayed to the god who feeds on sacrificial offerings, though whose brilliance he possessed, reciting the most auspicious mantras and offering libations of soma and roasted grains. With garlands and perfumes, that resplendent leader of the Titans invoked Pavaka. Thereafter, he brought their weapons such as Sarpastra, Samidhas, Sharapatras, Samidhas, and Bibhitakas with red robes and an iron spoon, and keeping the fire with Sharapatras and Tomaras, he seized hold of 5 live goat by the neck. Blazing up suddenly, the fire gave off no smoke, but manifested the signs betokening victory, and having been lit, the flames, bright as gold, whirling in a southerly direction, passed through the crucible and instantly consumed the offerings. Thereafter, Indrajita, who was skilled in holding arms, took out the Brahma weapon and pronounced a mantra on his bow, his chariot, and on all. Then he, having uttered the sacred formula and invoked Pavaka, the firmament, the sun, the planets, the moon, and the stars trembled. Having called all the gods, God of fire, having called on the god of fire, whose brilliance he possessed, he, the equal of Indra in power, whose strength was unimaginable, disappeared in the sky with his bow, arrows, sword, chariot, horses, and spear. In fact, the biggest strength of Indrajitu is waging the war, being disappeared, not visible to anyone. And it is because of that reason, and that was all because of a boon given by Brahma himself. And it is because of that reason, in the first 2 rounds, when he went out to wage the war, Rama and Lakshmana gave up fighting with him and surrendered themselves, and they laid down. This is what happens if bad people, if the people who do not have the eligibility are given with excellent powers. And once they have got such excellent power, they will create torment in the entire world. Then the army of Titans, abundantly furnished with horses and chariots, flags and pennants, burning to fight, set out emitting war cries, and in the struggle, those Titans, full of rage, attacked the monkeys with darts of different kinds, which were sharp, swift, and beautifully wrought, and with spears and hooks. Beholding them, the son of Ravana, addressing those rangers of the night, cried out, "Attack the enemy speedily, whom you are burning to destroy. Be of good cheer." At these words, the Titans, in their anxiety to triumph, roared aloud and caused a hail of missiles to descend on those redoubtable monkeys. Arming himself with arrows, maces, and clubs, Indrajita, on his side, in the mid of the Titans, assaulted the monkeys from where he stood invisible in the sky. Then those monkeys, struck down in the fight, instantly began to assail Ravani, that is Indrajita, with blows from stones and trees, and flow of anger. And full of anger, Indrajita, born of Ravana, that hero full of power, smote the monkeys with a single lance, and in fierce fury pierced 5, 7, 9 monkeys at one time, to the great delight of the Titans. Thereafter, that invisible warrior crushed those monkeys under his shafts that glittered like the sun and were decorated with gold. Their limbs pierced, the monkeys, overwhelmed by those arrows, fell like great asuras destroyed by the gods. Before this second Aditya, who consumed them with those formidable weapons as his race, those lions among the monkeys fled away, filled with terror, their bodies mutilated, their senses confused, they stampeded, bathed in blood and terrified, but in their devotion to Rama, those monkeys willing to sacrifice their lives suddenly halted and returned shouting, armed with rocks and closing their ranks, showered down a hail of trees, crags, and stones on Ravani. That murderous and fearful avalanche of trees and rocks was, however, dispersed by the mighty Indrajita, who was ever victorious in combat, and with his arrows as bright as fire, resembling serpents, that prince pierced the ranks of his enemies. With 18 penetrating darts, he wounded Gandhamadana. With 9 others, he struck Nala, though who stood some way off, and in his great strength he assailed Mainda with 7 arrows, tearing out his entrails, and Gaja with 7 blunted shafts. Thereafter he pierced Jambavan with 10 arrows, Nila with 30, and Sugriva, Rishabha, Angada, and Dvivida with dreadful flaming arrows that had been received as boons, thus rendering these foremost of the monkeys insensible, who, struck by innumerable shafts, fell under his furious onslaught, so that he appeared like the fire of death itself. With the aid of the arrows as bright as the sun, loosed with skill that were exceedingly swift, he scattered those monkey divisions in that great fight, and with transports of the keenest joy, that renowned warrior, born of the Indra of the Titans, witnessed the entire Simian army bathed in blood, overwhelmed with that rain of missiles. Under that shower of arrows and cruel hail of weapons with which he assailed them, the valiant Indrajitha ranged the monkey ranks, spreading destruction. Then, leaving his army behind, he speedily flung himself on the monkey forces in that great fight, covering them with a huge wave of formidable shafts like the downpour from a dark cloud. Victims of his magic arts, their bodies crushed by those missiles loosed by that vanquisher of Shakra, the monkeys, who were as large as rocks, emitted piteous cries, falling in the fray like great hills struck by Indra's thunderbolt, and they could see nothing but those sharp arrows decimating their ranks, while the enemy of the king of the gods, the Titan wielded in his magic power, remained invisible. Then that illustrious prince of the Titans let fly his wetted shafts that shone like the sun in all directions, covering the foremost of the monkeys and destroying them. And he caused spears, swords, and axes resembling fire, shooting forth flames like a glowing brazier from which sparks fly, to fall on the ranks of the foremost of the Plavagas. Under the arrows and flaming darts with which the vanquisher of Indra overwhelmed them, the monkey leaders resembled Kimshaka trees in full flower. As they looked upwards, some struck in the eyes were blinded, and jostling one another fell to the earth. With the aid of javelins, spears, and whetted shafts, charged with mantras, Indrajita, prince of the Titans, crushed all those warriors: Hanuman, Sugriva, Angada, Gandhamadana, Jambavan, Sushena, Vegadarshi, Goinda, Vivida, Neela, Gavaksha, Gavaya, Kesari, Hariloma, Vidyud Damshtra, Suryanana, Jyotirmukha, Dadhimukha, Pavakaksha, Nala, and Kumuda, and having disarmed those monkey leaders, he caused a shower of glittering darts, like unto the rays of the sun, to fall on Rama and Lakshmana, who accompanied him. Under the wave of arrows, which he heeded as little as though they were drops of rain, Rama, of prodigious splendor, began to ponder within himself and said to his brother, O Lakshmana, having overwhelmed the Simian army, that Indra among the Titans, the enemy of the gods, thrusting in his powerful weapon, now attacks us afresh with his sharp darts, in virtue of the boon he has received from Swayambhu. That hero, full of energy and prowess, has made himself invisible despite his formidable size. How may Indrajita, who has taken up arms against us, be struck down in combat when his body is invisible? I recognize this to be the weapon and power of Swayambhu, the beneficent and incomprehensible one, with a tranquil heart, O sagacious Lakshmana, fear the fall of this shaft with me today. Let this Indra of Titans, the leader of them all, cover us with a rain of darts. Entire army of the Monkey King, his greatest warriors having been struck down, appears to have lost its splendor. Yet when Ravani beholds us lying stretched insensible and impotent, manifesting neither joy nor anger, he will certainly rejoin Ravana, the enemy of the gods, in his abode, having gained a great victory. Thereafter, Indrajitha overwhelmed them both with a hail of missiles, and having reduced them to a state of impotence, that Indra among the Titans set up a shout of triumph. This way, having overcome the Simian army in battle, as also Rama and Lakshmana, he returned at once to the city ruled by Ravana's hand, where extolled by the Yatudhanas and filled with delight, he related all to his father. Thus come to the end, chapter 73 of Yuddha Kanda in Ramayana. Namaste Sharada Devi Kashmira Puramasini Twamaham Prarthage Nityam Vidya Danancha Dehime. Goodbye.